How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about BBIG. Considering how choppy the markets were, I must say it held itself up fairly well. We had buyers stepping in when it had its dip, but you know what? We'll talk about it further inside of this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information and as well as recent institutional ownership. The reason why the short interest is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know what was the buying and the selling behavior like on the institutional side and as well as for the retail side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details, so let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for BBIG. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $3.04, being up 0.33%. On the low, it tested $2.81, and then on the high, testing $3.07. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you could see we traded at 16.538 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days being at 17.022 million shares. So not too far off from the average volume, and one of the things you want to pay attention to, considering how choppy the markets were, BBIG did fairly well. When we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, we could see from the RSI down below right at 29.22, so we're in that oversold territory. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 50-day, the 100-day, the 21-day EMA, and as well as the 200-day. And as you can see very clear, we're just continuing to consolidate and form that base right at $3. We did end up breaking through that level and testing all the way down here to $2.81. No surprise why we had strength there, because this has been an area of support in the past, as you can see here back in August. And we've also seen this previously all the way back in May. So seeing a continuation of that is great. So as far as for the bullish case scenario, we want to be able to get above $3.07 so we can make this move all the way here to $3.27. Getting above $3.27, then I'm going to be looking forward for us to get to around $3.54 and then fill that gap in like I was speaking about around $3.77. As far as for the bearish case scenario, we did end up testing $2.81 on the low. So if it did pull back even more, then of course you'd want to see some strength right here around the $2.78 level. And if it was going to pull back even further, then it would be right around this $2.50 area as well. I am not seeing this unless we end up having a very strong sell-off or ends up having some bad news that comes out and so forth. But for the most part, it's continuing to consolidate. Nothing wrong with that, because that just makes it even easier for that next move up. But just make sure you have the right risk management in place if you're going to be getting into this play. And I've talked about this numerous times when it comes to this particular stock in previous videos. So let's see how it performs going into tomorrow. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for BBIG. So as we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So you can see here for the most recent filing we have here for November the 29th, we have Vanguard Balance Index Fund Investor shares that purchased 50,100 shares. And if we take a look at November the 24th, we have ITOTI shares Core S&P Total US Stock Market ETF that purchased 105,792 shares. And the rest we've already covered in the previous videos. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the dark pool short volume ratio is at 37.41%, and then for the dark pool short volume being just over 2.27 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 450,000 updated 4 hours ago. Vinco, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it's at 26.62%. Now, when we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of the 26th, it was at 30.39, and then for the close of the 29th, which was yesterday, being at 37.41. So what this tells us, that is a significant increase right there. So what that tells us, we have more shorts that are vested in this play, and there's an increase in negative market sentiment. This is going to contribute to its overall volatility, and this is why I emphasize you want to have a game plan. But do know, if the volume starts picking up more and we have more buying pressure, then BBIG is the type of stock you want to keep on the watch list. So now let's jump into the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for BBIG. So we can see here on the inflow, it was at 12,136, and then on the outflow, it was at 9,377. So we ended up having an inflow day. When we take a look at the breakdown, you can see on the large, it was 6,642. On the medium, it was 3,908. And then on the small, it was 1,586. When we take a look at the outflow side on the large, it was 2,202. On the medium, it was 4,665. And then on the small, it was 2,510. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see for today, it being that big time inflow of 4,439.85. And we've been seeing inflows on the large scales for the past 4 trading days. When we analyze the numbers even further in regards to the small scale orders, which tend to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. Not surprising considering how volatile the market was. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. But when we take a look at what happened on the large though, quite the difference there of 6,642 versus 2,202. So potentially institutions have been loading up on shares of BBIG. Now, when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it is at 17.07%. So this is fairly high, but not surprised due to the fact that this is a volatile play and there's a lot of traders that are going off of the price action, and also a lot of selling pressure considering how the conditions were inside of the market. But one thing that we do know, BBIG has some solid support right at that $3 level. Now the question is that going to continue to hold, especially as this week progresses? So now let's jump into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for BBIG, most preferably we want to see continued consolidation at that $3 level, because then that can get us ready for that next move up so we can fill in that gap at $3.77. But also we have to take a look at what the bearish case scenario can look like. For today, we ended up testing $2.81. If we end up doing this again tomorrow and 281 does end up breaking, then we could start seeing around the 270 to the 275 area. And I just want to make sure that is something you're aware of if you're going to be trading off of this play. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. So this is why this play overall thrives on volume. So if we have that buying pressure coming into the stock, then we could see some moves to the upside. We do see there is some interest on the institutional level from taking a look at the large scale orders. But again, add this to your homework and as well as your due diligence so you know exactly what your game plan should be. Because if you are going to be buying shares, you want to make sure that you have a concrete strategy. You don't want to be buying into this thing blindly. And also I want to talk about portfolio management, because I got this question that came in, Dre, hey, I have like 80% of my portfolio in BBIG. What do you think I should do next? And I'm like, why would you have 80% of your portfolio in one play? That is not the way to go about doing things. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. Instead, you want to limit your exposure, especially when it comes to plays like these. Unless your portfolio is designed for getting into these short squeeze plays, penny stocks, and also just plays in regards to speculation, then you want to make sure that you have more than one. You just don't want to be all in one, because if it ends up falling through, then of course your portfolio is going to go down the toilet. So I just want to make sure I'm being being very clear about that. I know not many people talk about that on YouTube, especially for these kinds of plays, but I want to make sure I emphasize that because I want to make sure that you guys have a long and successful journey inside of the stock market. And is why I always say you have to take advantage of risk management and also doing your homework before you jump in any stock. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I can't wait to see how BBIG performs for the rest of the week, and we'll be talking real soon.